Happy Easter. Well, good morning. Welcome to Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Steve Van Meter, and it's spring. I've lost my jacket somewhere. Shedding my winter coat, right? Well, it's Easter Sunday, and here at Center for Spiritual Living, we celebrate a little different than traditional, some of the traditional teachings. So follow along, if you will. I'll be hitting on some of the old traditional stuff to kind of tie it in metaphysically to see how it all fits together. So my theme this month is where humanity and divinity meet. Where humanity and divinity meet, you find yourself. There you are, in the midst of the cross, as it were. But it has a total different meaning. Matthew 28:6. He is not here, for he is risen. Come, see the place where he lay. Ernest Holmes wrote that the resurrection is the death of the belief that we are separated from God. God did not die. According to Matthew's version of the resurrection, when Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the sepulcher, they found it empty. An angel was there to tell them that Jesus had risen from the dead. The Easter story represents the defining principle for both traditional and metaphysical Christianity. In both cases, Easter illustrates that life, not death, is the eternal truth behind all appearances to the contrary. We celebrate Easter in the spring because all around us we see the resurrection of new life. From the dry stalks and branches of apparent death, we marvel at the blooming of spring, the proliferation of the mysterious force of life coming through as each new bud. Traditional Christianity draws its meaning of Easter from the past, projecting its fulfillment as a glorious and everlasting future. In metaphysics, we invoke the principle of resurrection in our current affairs by dying to or letting go of the old ideas, thought patterns, and beliefs, by affirming the new ones, praying and taking new action. So are you taking new action this spring? Doing anything different? It's okay if you're not. But life will move you into new ways of being. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. The seed must die to its old ways of being to become the plant. It's no longer the seed. It becomes a living being. We don't know exactly if the earth acts upon the seed or the seed acts upon the earth. Something happens, right? Something new is formulated. So our work is to make ourselves as open as possible to the renewing energy of this resurrecting force so that every point of our experience may expand and flourish. So I have a question. Are you sealed in the tomb of fear and negation, worried about your future, uncertain about the outcome of some current situation? Just asking. I know that spring comes up for me, and it's a time to reflect and rethink some things. Let's begin to release this fear and affirm that the resurrecting power of life is now lifting us beyond all restrictions, all uncertainties, all inhibitions, and that our life is full of new possibility. And those possibilities are unfolding now, like the spring buds bursting all around us. Open your mind to God's resurrecting life now, right where you are, and enjoy the blessings of a transformed life experience. So imagine Jesus the Christ as the great example of how we can be, not the exception that he was the only one that can be like that. I think that the experience of his whole journey, imagine a great practitioner. A practitioner, what does it mean to be a practitioner? It means you're practicing the awareness of the presence of God in your life. All of us are practitioners, if you know it or not. You don't have to have a license to practice. But if you want to work with others, you do need a license. There are certain rules about that. But imagine this great practitioner who could, you came to him for a treatment, right? You'd come to Jesus for a treatment and say, hey, I've got this thing going on in my life. Can you know the truth for me? And a so-called miracle would happen. And because of his ability to know this truth, the authorities brought him to justice because they didn't understand. And they crucified him. And upon that crucifixion, that practitioner arose. He brings a whole new meaning to life after life, right? The afterlife. Imagine a practitioner coming back to life after maybe they never made maybe they never died like we think of it. Maybe they live on in a new world of form that we just don't see with these human eyes. I don't want to freak anybody out, but there are other planes of existence that do exist, I believe. But I'll let you believe whatever you choose to believe. I'm going to talk a little bit about Psalm 23. It's one of my favorites. I'll read it, and then I'll give us the metaphysical interpretation to kind of give you an idea of how Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder, translated this wonderful Bible verse. Psalm 23, 1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And here's the quote everybody knows, right? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thy rod, thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. It just brings me comfort to say that. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. Surely the goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That is the King James Version. So in The Science of Mind, Living the Science of Mind book, another one of Dr. Holmes' books where he interprets this on page 148, I'll just give you a little insight, a little metaphysical insight. So, because we know this so well, it's easy to kind of move into a new understanding of this. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And Holmes says, the shepherd is the loving presence, the guarding, guiding, directing power of the universe. Note, we access this presence through our spiritual practices, meditation, prayer, affirmation, visioning. Because I am guided, guarded, directed, and protected and kept, I cannot have any unmet needs. 2, he maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Holmes, green pastures suggest relaxation in the midst of abundance. Doesn't that sound great? In the midst of your abundance, do you relax, or do you try to protect it? Do you get nervous because you have it? Or do you enjoy it? Do you bask in it? Still waters indicates the river of life in which there is no conflict. Water is also a symbol of healing and transformation, as in baptism, a hot spring, or other water experiences we seek out for healing purposes. Water washes things clean. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Holmes says, let go. For the soul cannot be restored by the river of life unless it lets go of the past and discovers that a new future is forever flowing around us. When we follow the pathway of right judgment, right useness, and when we take the name of God as our own, then we are in line with the great harmony of the universe. We are restored in body, mind, and soul, because the Spirit makes everything new. It's seeing things differently, seeing things from a different perspective this spring. Note, the soul, through direct contact with the indwelling God presence, is continually evolving and expanding. We are continually expanding, just like the universe is. We can witness this expansion in nature and understand that we, like the rest of the universe, as expressions of the divine, are also evolving. Or are we de-evolving? You know, I was thinking about this, about my childhood home where I grew up. It's not there anymore. It was bulldozed to make room for a new condominium project. But my memory of my upbringing can never be taken away from me. It is what happened. So, as I am ever expanding, that's part of my expansion. That will ever be part of my beginning process. But it's never too late to have a happy childhood. You know, there were some things that happened that, and we've all had things that happened. And this isn't to minimize any challenge or particularly uncomfortable situation we all may have walked through as children. But if we can see that what happened, it brought to us exactly what we needed for our growth experience, and we've walked on from that, we can have a healing about that. That's why I say it's never too late to have a happy childhood. Because as we look at it differently, we can change the energetic. And again, I'm not to minimize anything challenging that may have happened, but as we see things rightly, they take on a different experience. What man or humans meant for challenge, God means for good. And when we can see it in that way, we have a healing and a revealing of truth. And here's some of my favorite parts of this. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Holmes says, death is but a shadow cast by life. The divine Spirit brought us into this world. It has never deserted us and will remain with us forever. A rod or staff was used by the shepherd to protect himself and his sheep. Like many other symbols in the Bible, it refers to the staff of truth, or our complete reliance on the law of good. So I invite you, when you hear the word Lord, in metaphysics, I interpret that as law. The law is with me. And I interpret the rod and the staff are my word and my belief. My word and my belief comfort me because I know the truth about it. And while we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, keep walking. Don't stop to take pictures. Don't buy a t-shirt. Just keep walking. Don't pitch a tent and don't build a condo. You must keep walking. And as we keep walking, we can get the energy of the experience and not be dispelled by the appearance of the challenge. Any challenge you're walking through that has brought you to your knees or to tears, if you will ask your challenge, what is your message? What is your message? And listen, maybe we can have a resurrection from the old ways, right? Because every situation is trying to give us information. But if we see it as just a challenge and it upsets us, we get caught in the shadow of it. You know what I mean? There's just a different perspective. And again, I'm not here to minimize any challenge that you may have walked through. We all have walked through some things. But don't get so caught up in the appearance that we don't see the gift of what the journey is bringing us. Life is full of challenges. However, regardless of appearances or circumstances, the I am that is the indwelling Christ consciousness will, if invited, lead us out of the valley up to the mountain of transfiguration, where we can come to understand the lessons and the gifts of our experiences, where we are surrounded by the light of truth. People say, "You are glowing." You know, there's some commercial out there saying that people don't glow. I don't know if you've seen it. People do glow. People glow all the time, if you see it or not. So, I invite you to look for the glow. If you look at a flower, it's glowing with life. It's inviting you in. You know why a flower is beautiful? Because you're beautiful. You're seeing the beauty of yourself within this appearance. That's why we love music. It touches us. It is us. How powerful is that? It's like the next time you have an experience of that connection, just remind yourself of what that really is. You are the infinite in form. That's why when you hear truth, like makes you feel all warm and cozy, because it's who you are. It's the Christ consciousness that you are resonating, harmonizing as the beauty of a flower. Isn't that powerful? We become confident in knowing and doing what is uniquely and divinely mine or for us to do. 5, thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Holmes says, the table of the Lord, God, the law is forever spreading its gifts before life, as life, including health, happiness, joy, and successful living. You ever get away from successful living, or you ever get away from the energy of spiritual harmony we start feeling like we're out of outer space, like we're alone. We're like a lone wolf, that we're not part of the pack anymore. We need to keep ourselves close in the pack. You know what I mean? That's where the safety is. That's why that's why I became a minister, so I could surround myself with the pack. Oil is a symbol of perfect welcome. Oil is an abundance overflowing. God's abundance is an extravagant abundance. It is limitless. The oil anoints, bringing back that same spiritual energy of connection. You ever smell sage, burning sage? It's kind of that feeling that I can't even describe it. It makes me tingle, gives me God bumps, right? Where you just have that sensation of connection. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I feel like a preacher up here. I'm not. This is about talking together about what we believe. Holmes says, goodness will always be available to us, and there will always be mercy for our mistakes. There is a presence and a power that goes with us and is within us, the all-conquering power of the law of good. The all-conquering power of the law of good. So in conclusion, the resurrection is the death of the belief that we are separated from God. God did not die, and you can never be separated from the energy that created you. Now you can run from it, but you cannot hide. It is who and what you are. It is as close as hands and feet. We can deny the energy and pretend that we're not part of the infinite. But it's so much easier to just fall into the energy of love. We are the ones who deny that we have the power to resurrect or to rise in consciousness. We are the ones who moved. God can't move away from us because it is us. The Easter story presents the story of our personal rising consciousness and of our eternal life and awareness. We never die. We transition or transform, or we rise into the new states of awareness. It's time to roll away the stone. Roll away the stone of winter and the belief in death, and arise into the sunlight and the spring of our eternal selves. And so it is. Well, it's time for our prayer now. So if you'd like to close your eyes, if that's comfortable for you, take a soft focus on the candles. I want to dim the lights just a little bit. Thank you. Let's follow our teaching and go within. So I invite you to bring to the forefront of your consciousness what you believe the Christ energy is, the energy of creation. There is a power that is working right now, and it is guiding the stars and the sun, and it is leafing the trees and growing the grass. It is breathing our bodies, beating our heart, digesting our food, all of these things all at the same time. How powerful is that? I invite you to bring to the forefront of your consciousness whatever you are working with or dealing with right now, whatever might be a situation that you want resolved. And I imagine that it is resolved right now for you. What does that feel like? That what has come up before you has come to pass. It has brought exactly the learning and healing experiences that are needed for your next stage of evolution. And you can look back at it now and say, thank you. Thank you, divine loving energy, for this time, this space, and this place, for this experience that has brought me this new consciousness, this new awareness, this new level of loving and letting. How good it is to know that miracles happen all the time. And that a miracle is just a science we don't understand yet and may never will. And that's okay. As long as I know that the infinite is here. It is who and what we are. A transformation, a healing is taking place. So I'm grateful for this time, this space, and this day, this Easter Sunday, where a new idea is blossoming out of the winter of my discontent. For I know that the love of the universe that we live within, we live in love like a fish lives in water. And as we allow that love to permeate every cell of our being, every avenue of our thinking, that healing nature, that revealing nature of love shows us a new way, that a connection is made, that an answer comes forth, that a resolution is at hand. I'm grateful for these healings, these revealings, these miraculous experiences. Thank you, divine energy of love, for the power to know, and to know that I know that I know, and to use it in all my affairs, everything in life, every situation. So with that thanksgiving and with that heart filled with love, it is easy to let go. To completely release this into the law of mind. Letting go completely, knowing that it is already so. We affirm it together by saying, and so it is.